Okay, so we're gonna go over how to. Now, I did not put mine in a damp box, so mine has not stayed lovelily wet. So I technically it's okay, but I really like it's not gonna be as easy to smooth today. So the first thing that you need to know is that we need to finish this shape before we move on. Does that mean that it's perfectly smooth yet? No, it doesn't need to be perfectly smooth yet because we're about to. I see people doing things and everybody's hands free and eyes this way. All right, but before I go and add on a head on here, I need to make sure that it's at least structurally sound. I'm seeing like these hairline cracks that I'm seeing inside of here. I need to get rid of that. Also that big dent right there. So there are two ways to take care of a dent. I showed you last class. This dent is a little bit bigger. Let's say it looked like this. Let's say it was really concave. Does that make sense? That you would not just keep piling more clay inside of there because that's gonna off the balance of the piece and make that side really heavy. Everybody following? Mm-hmm. So what I'm gonna do in that case, just in, because I mean this is maybe a little bit more extreme than what you guys are seeing. This is all I could find. Okay, it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put an X right there. And then I'm going to pop out this clay. Now you can tell the way my clay is moving how much it's dried up. Now if you have a big dent like that, what I would do is I would just take a little bit of paper, shove it in there to poke it out, and then use what you have to squish it back into itself. As long as your clay is staying wet, it should, like mine's having a little bit of trouble, okay? I'm gonna grab some of my slabs that I also did not put in a damp box or in a good bag, and I'm just going to patch it, okay? So now that did make it really hard because I kind of forced that dent. So right there, my piece isn't wanting to push very much. Have you guys noticed that you can really rewarp the shape? If you get too much paper in there, it's not as flexible, and I like it to be a little bit flexible so that I can alter the shape. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay, so, sorry. So I would get all of this shape exactly how I want it so that it's the correct shape before I add on the head. Does that mean that it's perfectly smooth? No. It can still be lumpy. It can still be rough, but it shouldn't have big valleys and huge hills. We're getting it the generally right shape. Everybody following? Okay. So now I'm going to show you how to do the head. So I believe that looks like the tail. Maybe it comes out more at the bottom there. I could push that side in a bit. I could also push this in a bit and start to make it into that shape. Does that make sense? Okay. Now the head is going to be interesting because it has like this bill. I don't know what that, a muzzle maybe? Is that called a muzzle? I don't know, maybe. So I'm going to build that out of paper. Now I have probably way too much paper here. Do not build this because once you put the clay on top of it, the head's going to get even bigger. Does that make sense? So just know that you should follow the draft. Don't use your sculpture for this. Your sculpture is actually bigger than your draft because you built the paper to fit the draft, but you're wrapping thick clay around it. Now I'm using 2 pieces here, which is whatever. I don't recommend, but this is a smaller ball than I had yesterday, so I think I'll be able to figure this out. So what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to put this in this hand, and where this head is going to go, I am going to put a hole in the middle. You guys can use your needle tool to cut a hole, whatever you got. All I could find is this stinking pumpkin arbor. Now that clay is a little bit on the thick side. Look at that. There's a big massive hole there. Oh, look at that. Okay, so if I do cut some of this out, I could cut off some of that thickness in there. You just don't want to make it like super, like it's gonna flatten, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead, so now I have, what that is I have my tunnel for the air to go through. Okay. I'm gonna lay this on top, and And then I'm just gonna start working this in. I'm gonna rip off pieces I don't need. I'm leaving that off to the side. And I'm literally going to attach it to the side right there by squishing it in. As long as your body's still wet and this clay is still wet, do you need to slip and score? No, you do not, okay? If you're nervous, if you've got like something like, if everybody looks at Dom's has a really long out there neck. That means that there's gonna be more gravity on that piece. I might, did you slip and score yours?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yes.
I would too. I think that was wise. Listen to your instincts, okay? So I'm just adding on all these parts. Now, to save us some time, obviously, can we all imagine that I did a beautiful job?
Oh my
I know.
God.
It's coming off like a puppet, okay? So I didn't quite do a great job. But just get it attached to start. It's not gonna be excellent from the get-go, but just make sure that it is attached, okay? As long as you squish it and you wanna make sure there's no evidence. And the hard part about doing this is that it doesn't give you the definition around the jaw. Does that make sense? It's just warping it into the piece. So you might have to go back in there and redefine the jaw later. Everybody following? Okay? But just be careful, because as you're pushing that clay and redefining it, it's actually making that clay really weak right there. So you might even have to go in there and build out the jaw a little bit so as not to have really skinny clay. Really, really skinny clay is going to be more likely to crack when it's drying. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, I'm not gonna finish this right now because it's just a waste of time, but you guys kind of get the point. So that's adding another bulbous shape on top. I'm also gonna do a demo later on how to do more of a skinny part, like a leg, okay? But that is the head. If like I said, if you're gonna have like a neck that comes way out, I would slip and score it on just to make it more sturdy because gravity is gonna be pushing it. Any questions? Is this helpful? So once you get that head on there, then you start reshaping, repatting. You can literally just start building it solid. I could build out these cheeks right here. I could build out the nose right here. And I'm just building it out with my hands and with squishing and making sure that it's all there. Okay? Smooth. Remember, we're not doing detail. I did allow the few kids who are in art practicum the permission to do a little bit more detail because they'll have twice as much time. How many of you have an art practicum? If that's you and you haven't talked to me specifically about what your plan is, please come and talk to me. Because some of you might be going even further than I'm allowing or willing to allow. It'll take longer than twice as much time. Okay? Some of y'all are very detailed. All right. Keep it wet.